r/ask Reddit. What's the harsh reality no one accepts? Bad things will happen to you for no reason. I always liked the Star Trek quote, "It is possible to commit no mistakes and still lose." That is not a weakness. That is life. For that reason, some things just happen and that's the way it is. Some parents just don't love their children. On a less dark but related note, your parents definitely have a favorite child. I have 3 kids. My oldest is my favorite to go shopping with and share memes and videos with. My middle is my favorite if I need a good quiet cuddle and quiet time spent with someone. My youngest is my favorite to go exploring with and try scary new skills with. They all have something I would miss horribly because the others just don't bring that energy to the table. They are individuals and I love what makes them that way. Can confirm. As an only child, I know for a fact the favorite was the dog. Beauty matters in how people treat people. As an average looking guy with amazingly photogenic kids, I get told a lot that I must have a beautiful wife. My daughter used to get free stuff all the time from shopkeepers etc. Wow, she is so cute. Can I give her a sweet etc. Really opened my eyes. Absolute strangers would offer her small gifts all the time. As a former ugly kid, it's really ducked up how people extend their shallowness to treating ugly kids badly. Couldn't agree more. There were 3-5 of us as kids used to play together. People always comment how the most beautiful kid is splendid. Shower her with attention plus ignoring the rest of us. Now that we are adults, we all, the average and the beautiful, develop some kind of unhealthy relationship with how we navigate the world as a female. Some people just can't be saved. You could give them every benefit in the world and they still could choose to throw it all away and you can't do anything about it. This is a tough lesson to learn. People have to want to change. Nothing you can do can make people change if they are resistant to it. This hurts and I'm not sure how I feel about it. I work with children who have suffered immense trauma and abuse. Far worse than you can imagine. I work with them when they are teens. And they've started to utilize coping mechanisms that society would deem to be poor. Despite the fact those coping mechanisms have kept them alive. They may steal, lie, run away, take drugs etc. They do it because no one has made them feel like they're worth believing in. Statistically, these children, when they become adults, are likely to not have jobs, have healthy relationships, or even have a home. It isn't a choice. They simply don't believe in themselves enough to think they're worth the effort. It isn't benefits they need. It's love. Very few people truly accept their mortality, and most of the time when it truly sinks in, people get scared and want to avoid it. I just had a conversation with a friend about how people aren't taking our current situation seriously and putting themselves and others at risk. I said that it is because people are in denial about their own mortality and act as though they are exempt. I have always viewed the fear of death and lack of reflection acceptance as a strong source for a lot of societal issues and a tool for manipulation. Mistakes do define you. The little ones don't. But if you make a big mistake, it will alter your life to an extent. Saying that they don't matter is a lie that will prevent you from diagnosing life problems later down the line. This is something I wrestle with a lot in terms of my recovery from alcoholism. I quit young, at 24, and have been sober 7 years without relapse. Despite that accomplishment, I have alcoholic neuropathy, nerve damage, that will never go away no matter how long I'm sober. This is a wonderful accomplishment though. Quitting is so hard, even if you have every reason to. You chose life. First impressions are a very ducking big deal. They can be. My partner is on the road a lot for his job. This particular week he was away with one of the big bosses of the company. Everyone in the office knew the big boss was traveling with my partner in the car. My partner got a call from a customer and had to ring the office to finalize the sale all via the car kit. Office guy picks up the phone. "Yeah, what do you want?" in a super uninterested and gruff voice. Needless to say, he left a lasting impression. Seems like it's not that important, but in a workplace that kind of thing stands out. Money and good looks matter. And if you don't have enough good looks, just add money. Hard work doesn't always pay off. Something I learned my first week in the corporate world, and again even up until all the coronavirus layoffs. A non-executive's value to the company is strictly dictated by which side of the balance sheet their compensation falls. Some people just don't get a happy ending. Some people never find happiness or satisfaction. People tell you that there is light at the end of the tunnel, but for some people there isn't. They never get to see any light, just darkness. Yep, I once lived with someone like that. She was in her 70s 80s and I rented a room in her house for a few months. She was truly miserable. She told me about how she grew up in Turkey with an absent father and abusive alcoholic mother. She told me how she escaped her overbearing family by marrying an Indian diplomat. Then how her husband abused her for years. She was missing teeth because of it. Then when her family moved to Canada, how she worked for years for her husband and kids with no thanks. By the time I moved in with her, she was all alone, living in low-income housing, yelling at her kids on the phone once a week about how they are terrible children who never visit, and ranting to me about how terrible her life had been and how many regrets she had. She was an awful person to be around, but it was clear she had lived a life full of suffering. A parrot can't say anything they haven't heard. Sometimes people who have only lived through malice and hate can't understand or reciprocate love. It's really difficult to do something that no one has shown you before. It's much easier to stick with what you know. That I don't care that you broke your elbow. Or duck. I can't believe you've done this. Not everyone is going to like you, no matter how hard you try. Do I need to be liked? Absolutely not. I like to be liked. I enjoy being liked. I have to be liked. But it's not like this compulsive need to be liked, like my need to be praised. Would I rather be feared or loved? Easy. Both. I want people to be afraid of how much they love me. Damn, this one always gets to me. I try really hard to be nice to everyone and want everyone to like me, but there are still some people who I know never will, and it makes me low-key really upset sometimes. You can be the juiciest, tastiest peach in the world, and there will still be people who don't like peaches. All human beings are capable of being viciously immoral. There's a point where we can be forced or force ourselves to become completely animalistic. We can perpetrate murder and genocide, as just one example. And if justified to ourselves correctly, we will feel no remorse. We like to think that the only people capable of such horror are a minority, but the truth is that we are all capable of it given the right circumstances. There is a Star Trek film that deals with this, Nemesis. Basically a clone of one of the virtuous characters shows up hellbent on destroying humanity. The captain pleads with him at one point, saying that the man he is couldn't possibly do the things he is. He is better than that. His blood is better than that. The villain responds, he is what his life has made him. There are no single women in your area willing to meet you. Those bastards lied to me. You will likely be lost to history in just a few centuries. Nobody will remember or even knew you existed. Sad, I know, but you just have to accept it. Just make sure to dab or do a handstand or something dumb when a volcano goes off to give archaeologists a good laugh a couple hundred or so years later. There is no possible way everyone was kung fu fighting. Nor was there a chance they could kick as fast as lightning. People refuse to accept that this is the reality. Lots of time and money is spent cushioning that blow. We live here. We live now. Best get used to it. People have resorted to choosing reality. It's more convenient for them. We're not all special. Some of us will not find love. We're not all equal. Change never to not, and that's a fine haiku. The world goes on after you die. The world went on before you were born. Nope. My dog, Artemis, created the entire universe and everything in it last Thursday, including all memories of the past. Prove me wrong. Us first world citizens have it much better than we think we have it. And people say they care, but the vast majority just want to go have happy hour on the patio and put it out of their mind. A while back there was an Ask Reddit about what are some shocking truths or something along those lines. Paraphrasing one that really stuck with me. People in first world countries defecate in cleaner water than most others in the world drink. Nobody is truly selfless, and that's okay. There's a guy named Robin Hanson who's an interesting thinker, and he's co-authored a book called The Elephant in the Brain about the hidden motives in our daily lives. The book says exactly what you say, but Hanson doesn't seem to find that depressing or disheartening. As far as I remember, he put it like this. Humans don't look that bad when compared to other animals. The only way we look bad is when we compare ourselves to the angels we pretend to be. Reminds me of a quote. limited in nature, infinite in his desires. Man is a fallen god who remembers the heavens. Alphonse de Lamartine. People often hunger for truth but seldom like the taste of it served up. George R.R. Martin. Because more often than not, they're looking for an answer that comforts them from a fear that they have. But when they get hit with a reality check, their fears are confirmed, which makes them sadder and more anxious. If Shrek 5 happens, it's going to be a shitty cash grab and Shrek is probably going to do the floss. Please don't say things like this. I don't want to think about it. This is a harsh reality I can't accept. I don't know who most of you are, and it'll be like that forever. Therefore there will always be someone who doesn't care about you whatsoever. Most people will be completely forgotten within the next 100-200 years. No conscious thought about them. No mention of their name ever again. For eternity. It's kind of freeing to think about that because it means it really doesn't matter that much what you do. No one is paying that much attention to you. And all the shit you worry so much about is just temporary. There is no karma. Bad things happen to good people. Bad people do bad things that never catch up to them. Good people did good things that screw them over in the long run. It's all random. Sometimes you must accept the truth that there always will be idiots who will duck it up for rest of us. And sometimes that idiot will be you. Pandemics last years, not weeks or months. To add on to this, flattening the curve wasn't about reducing the total number of infection cases, it was to slow down the rate and distribute it out over a longer period of time. The current precautions we're taking are to allow hospitals to not be overwhelmed with many cases at once, not to completely prevent us from catching the virus. There could be a gamma ray burst coming from deep space to fry our entire planet within a second and we'd have no way of knowing it. Have a good night, fellas. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.